Votes are still being counted in key presidential election battleground states. We'll hear some tips about the basics of patience as we await results.
2020's election night was a weird one, with many voters saying they've never seen one quite like it in their lifetimes. But what do some of the four states' younger voters think about Tuesday night's affair? I headed to PSU to find out, and that's coming up.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
The race for the White House is still too close to call, with the ballot count continuing tonight. The Trump campaign is preparing for legal challenges as the president's path to re-election narrows, with Joe Biden projected to win two more battleground states, Wisconsin and Michigan. Natalie Brand has the latest from Washington.
Joe Biden picked up two key battleground states Wednesday as CBS News projects him the winner of Michigan and the presumptive winner in Wisconsin. That puts the former vice president within striking distance of the 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency.
I'm not here to declare that we've won, but I am here to report when the count is finished, we believe we will be the winners.
According to CBS News, Biden currently leads President Trump by 40 electoral votes, with North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Georgia still considered toss-ups. Arizona and Nevada are leaning Democratic.
President Trump falsely claimed victory overnight and is now mounting legal challenges.
His campaign is demanding a recount in Wisconsin and suing to stop the vote count in Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. In Detroit, supporters of President Trump demanded entry to a ballot processing center to watch the vote count. In Philadelphia, demonstrators called for every vote to be counted. Election officials there say it could take days before the winner of the Keystone State is known.
We're going to win Pennsylvania, but they're trying to cheat us out of it because they know it's their only path to victory.
Election officials across the country say the vote counting process has gone smoothly, with few, if any, irregularities. It's estimated around 160 million Americans voted, on pace for highest turnout in more than a century. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
While Biden stopped short of declaring victory today, a Biden-Harris transition team website has been launched. In our Instapoll question last night, 63% of respondents said they were not confident that votes would be counted properly nationwide. Jasper County Clerk Charlie Davis says he feels people have more faith in local election counting.
Talking to the people that have come here and voted absentee, because we voted almost 7,000 people in person absentee, and people were excited. People were really energized as saying, so it goes into the machine immediately. It's like, absolutely. And they felt that their vote actually counted.
To keep up on the latest national numbers in the race for the presidency, you can visit our website at koamnewsnow.com and click on the link at the top of the page. Every county in our area favored President Trump. In this list, the counties with the highest percentage vote for the president are at the top. President Trump received more than 80% of the vote in four counties in our viewing area. Those were Barton County, McDonald County, Wilson County, and Woodson County. The highest former Vice President Biden reached in any area county was 39% of the vote. That was in Labette County. In Crawford County, Biden had 38%. Leading up to yesterday's voting, local party committees put in a lot of work trying to secure votes for their candidates. On the Republican side, the Southwest Missouri Republicans opened their office in Joplin in June. Southwest Missouri Democrats had worked just as long. Now they're taking down signs, and they'll be making plans for the next election, try to find candidates and work with newly elected lawmakers.
The next phase of volunteering will be going ahead and doing voter ID to ID all the Democrats in the area, so that the next time that we have an election and we're trying to remind people to vote, we know who the Democrats are, to remind them to vote.
We kept Missouri red, but that's just the beginning. You have to make sure those you put into office are still living up to the ideals they ran on.
And obviously, like most of us, both parties are still anxiously waiting to see who will win the presidential race. While this presidential election may stand out to seasoned voters, for plenty of four-staters, this was their first or second time voting for president. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke to members of the Pittsburgh State University College Republicans to get their thoughts.
As our nation waits for the results from the 2020 presidential election, a handful of things are clear. Those landslide predictions were off, and America remains a country divided.
I think this election just kind of reflects, right, some of those things, right? I mean, more competition, more polarization, but also as a consequence, right, higher turnout.
High voter turnout was certainly unique about this year's battle for the White House, but so is the fact that we still don't know the winner. That's not typical for the information age, but for many younger voters, including the PSU college Republicans, it was more weird than nerve-wracking.
I wouldn't say it was crazy, more just weird, because there really wasn't any big events, no big surprises in my opinion.
While many Americans were glued to their couches, these college Republicans were busy at the Jake LaTurner watch party.
I set my focus on the congressional race and the Senate race in the state, and then because I knew that the ballots wouldn't come in for the national race until probably later.
For the PSU college Republicans, there was more anxiety the day after Election Day, when Wisconsin and Michigan started to trend blue.
We were looking for answers, and we were giving our own theories on what was going on, what the Secretary of States for both those states were saying, what news media were saying. We're taking all that in and making our best guess.
I reached out to PSU's college Democrats for reaction as well, but they said because of the pandemic, they weren't doing face-to-face interviews. In Pittsburgh, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Now, while the Pittsburgh State University campus Democrats wouldn't talk on camera, they did provide us with a statement saying, quote, "We can't say much about the election at the moment as the situation is clearly still developing. We believe in the integrity of the election, the fact that every vote should be counted, and that results or victories should not be called until all votes are counted." Waiting for election results can be stressful and require patience. We spoke with a Webb City kindergarten teacher about how she teaches her students to practice patience. She says it's all about going back to the basics, taking deep breaths, distracting yourself with something else, and even just getting up and walking around to stimulate the neurons in your brain. Practicing patience can help relieve feelings of frustration, anger, or stress.
We have become a society that we get things immediate, and it's fantastic to have all that technology, but in the real world, we still have to wait our turn and we still have to practice that patience. And as adults, it's important for us to model that to our kids.
You can find more tips on practicing patience on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. A former public school teacher in Kansas is making history as the state's first transgender lawmaker. Democrat Stephanie Byers beat Republican Cindy Howerton last night. She'll represent the 86th district in the Kansas legislature, which includes portions of South Wichita. Byers, who is of Native American descent, said she's grateful for those who voted for her.
You know, it's an affirmation on humanity, the fact that we were able to do this, that the people of House District 86 elected me. You know, they voted for me, and they were the ones that chose to not let my gender identity become an issue.
The new state lawmaker said she wants people to know that she is ready to make a difference. Byers says she plans to push for Medicaid expansion in Kansas. Doug Hetty joins us now with a first look at weather on a night that does not feel like November, Doug.
No, it really doesn't. After 30s and 40s all last week, this week we've been into the 70s. In fact, climbed pushing 80 for us today. Average high 65, 77 was the mark, only 6 degrees off the record high set way back in 1978, the year I was born, Dow, way back. Yeah, clouds sticking around though, at least over the next several hours, and then these will start to push out. There's nothing underneath the clouds, even though we have them, we're not seeing any rain. Look at our temps, not bad, upper 50s, I think, with the southerly winds. We'll only drop back into lower 50s a little bit later on tonight. So if you are getting up early, we're going to be starting at about 52, a quick warm up near 70 by noon, then a high temp right around 73 during the afternoon. So it looks great over the next few days. We do have some changes, plus we'll do your month-long forecast here in just a bit.
All right, see you then. Still ahead, a head-on crash on Joplin's 20th Street Bridge turns fatal. And what Jefferson City authorities are saying about a shooting involving multiple victims. Newton County, Missouri is reporting 2 more COVID-19 related deaths, bringing their total to 35. Officials say it was a woman in her 60s and a man in his 70s. The city of Joplin is reporting its 37th COVID-19 related death. They say it was an 86-year-old man. A woman is dead from a crash today involving a Joplin School District utility van. No passengers were in the van. Happened this morning near Joplin's 20th Street Bridge, close to the high school. Police say 31-year-old Lauren Safley was killed when her car crossed the center line and hit the van head-on. A passenger in her car and the driver of the van were both taken to the hospital. A Joplin woman who was accused of abandoning her husband's corpse has lost a bid to get the body back. A judge dismissed Barbara Waters' lawsuit that sought to recover her husband's body and some documents that were taken during the investigation. The suit was dismissed without prejudice due to plaintiff Waters' quote, failure to respond to court directives. In December of 2019, prosecutors charged Waters with abandonment of a corpse after police discovered her husband's body in a freezer in the couple's home months after his death. Waters' case was ultimately dismissed when a Jasper County judge ruled that evidence did not prove that Waters intended to abandon her husband's body. Two former Delaware County, Oklahoma jailers, Charles Hayes and Shelley Mayberry, plead guilty to charges that they tased inmates without just cause. Hayes pled guilty to 7 counts of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. He gets a 7-year deferred sentence and is placed on probation. The court also ordered Hayes to pay more than $24,000 in fines and court costs. He's also barred from working in law enforcement or corrections for the time of the deferment. Mayberry gets a 5-year deferred sentence and probation for 2 of the 7 counts filed against her. She also cannot work in law enforcement or corrections. Authorities in Jefferson City, Missouri are investigating multiple shootings that happened outside of a community center. Police say several people were hurt in the afternoon incident today. One person was shot in the leg, another in the stomach. Several cars were also damaged. Lincoln University police are helping with the investigation. A little bit later on KOAM News at 10, the event encouraging Pittsburgh families to get physically active in a virtual world.
And it looks like the nice temperatures are going to stick around, but some change is working in. We're going to look at that coming up. Definitely a nice Wednesday for us today. Pretty good stretch of weather after all the rain, even from the ice that we had last week. Looks pretty good. We've had, 5 days, 6 days of mainly sunny skies. Even though we had clouds today, at least the temperatures were fantastic. A lot of mid and upper level clouds during the late morning into the early afternoon hours. Fantastic time lapse indigo sky, casino and resort. But temperatures have been great. We've been into the 70s the past couple days. We went mid 70s yesterday on Election Tuesday, and then we did it again for us today into the mid 70s. We'll hang out into the 70s over the next couple days. Currently, Sedan 59, J 61, Fort Scott 60, 56 in Cassville. Parsons is sitting at 57. I really don't think most of us are going to drop off too much because we have these south winds. Now, they're fairly light, 5 to 10, but south winds keep our temperatures up just a little bit, and it helps us warm up as we work into the afternoon hours. We're looking off toward the east. You can see the flag from our station sitting at 57, south winds at about 5 to 10. Humidity is at 55%, dew point sitting at 41 degrees. All the clouds throughout the daytime hours today. This is a very weak, minor little wave. It doesn't really even have any moisture with it. Enough moisture in the upper levels to produce the clouds, just not any rain here at the surface. And you can see they're starting to break up just a bit in our western counties. But these are going to roll through. Besides that, that's it going on across really the lower 48. Look at the storm system starting to stack up out across the Gulf of Alaska, and eventually those will head toward us by the time we head into early next week. Until then, I think we look okay. Clouds start to depart by morning. We'll drop back into lower 50s for overnight lows. So we'll start at 52, quick warm up through the 50s, into the 60s, near 70 by noon, and then I think most of us will top out right around 73 during the afternoon. Still, those south winds are going to be light at about 5 to 10. Tomorrow night, we'll get a few clouds in here, but again, we're going to stay on the dry side. And then let's go all the way into Friday. Friday afternoon, south winds again, lower 70s, so not a lot of changes. Partly cloudy skies Friday night, high school football. looks fine. Saturday, south winds, partly sunny skies, looks pretty good once again. So let's go down the road. We'll head into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday finally. The storm system rotates out. This should give us some rain by Monday and then into Tuesday and then cool us down just a bit. This system will pass on by. Another system will sink in behind it and give us rain, maybe even over to a little bit of snow late next week. So the pattern does start to pick up. But the whole point with this pattern over the next 10 months, this is my pattern, it's we got big gaps. 8, 9, 10 days that just not much goes on. 73s next 2 days, 72 Saturday, 74 Sunday. Rain sneaks in Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, but Veterans Day looks pretty good. It's just going to be a little cool into the mid-50s. So wrapping up next week, that system Thursday and Friday. So we're going to cool down as we head into the weekend. Rain, maybe a little bit of snow. Let's go into the third week. So this is the 15th through the 21st. Cool start Sunday and Monday. Mainly a dry week until a storm system on that Thursday and Friday. We do warm up, mild temperatures, that means 60s, even 70s, Thursday into Friday. So really temperatures aren't that bad. Week number 4, this is Thanksgiving week. Mainly mild. So we're looking at mainly 60s through the entire week. We will have rain chances on Thursday, which is Thanksgiving, and then we're going to cool down for that holiday weekend. May get a little snow mixing in over that holiday weekend. And then as we head into December, temperatures kind of all over the place with a couple storm systems. I think the main key with November is temperatures are really going to be swinging up and down, but not a ton of storm systems, only about 4 or 5 systems.
Yeah, and maybe down, but not bitterly cold at least.
Exactly.
Thanks, Doug. Living in a virtual world doesn't mean we can't be physically active. That's the idea behind the Pittsburgh Parks and Recreation Department's OK Kids Day. Families can compete in several physical activities posted on the department's Facebook page. With each completed activity, families post a photo in the OK Kids Day Facebook event to be entered to win a grand prize. OK Kids Day is actually more than a day. The competition runs through November 14th. Federal Highway Administration is doling out more than $1 million in grants for trail development, and Duquesne, Missouri is getting a slice. The town is getting more than $96,000 for the development of the Duquesne Memorial Trail.
Well, I'm very excited about this, and just for the city of Duquesne. I mean, I know that it's going to be a huge part of their development. They're going to be able to host a variety of different opportunities for people to actually get together.
The city of Cassville is also getting a grant, more than $53,000 for improvements at the South Park Trail. The Nevada Tigers have had a pretty significant turnaround on the football field, and one player has been through it all. We're going to hear from him next. The Nevada Tigers are still alive in the Missouri Class 4 football playoffs. The Tigers won their first playoff game since 2017 last Friday. Sports Director Jacob Leonard tells us how this year is not just a comeback year for the program, but also for a senior on the team.
Nevada senior Caden Denny is finishing his high school career the right way.
I'm very fortunate for it. Very fortunate that I got to finish this season.
Denny missed all of last season due to injury. He was on the sideline while the Tigers finished 0-10 overall.
I think that was tough on him to be unable to play and unable to do anything to help us.
It put me out, football and basketball, and then COVID ended track, so I didn't get to play a single sport all last year. So I put in a lot of work in the weight room and outside of school to try and keep my speed, keep my size, you know. It was a long process. It was a really long process for me.
Denny is finishing his career on a high note. He rushed for 190 yards and 3 touchdowns last Friday, helping the Tigers win their playoff opener over Harrisonville.
I think he's one of those young men that has a once every 5 to 10 years talent. You know, he's got good speed. He's also a physical runner for his size, and he's just explosive.
The team is now 7-3 and in the district semifinals, 1 year after going winless. Coach Beechler credits Denny and the rest of the leaders on the team for the turnaround.
They keep practice upbeat. They keep it pretty intense. They police each other. We don't have to say a whole lot when practice starts to get a little bit flat. They pick it up on their own.
Being back on the field is already a success for Denny. Winning Friday and having a chance to play for a district title would just be icing on the cake.
I think it would mean a lot to everybody. I mean, I can't remember the last time Nevada's been to a district championship. I can't remember the last time they've been that far in the playoffs. So I think it'd mean a lot for Coach Beachler, for this team, and probably even more for the community.
In Nevada, Jacob Leonard, KOAM Sports.
Nevada will face Elias Catholic this Friday night for a spot in the Class 4 District 6 championship game. Final check on the weather is next. Take time now to honor a local veteran, Sergeant Fred Simpkin Jr. The Columbus, Kansas native served in the U.S. Army. And we are proud to salute Sergeant Fred Simpkin Jr. He's tonight's four-state hero. PlayDoh isn't just for kids anymore. Not that it ever really was. The toy brand is set to launch a new line of their famous dough for adults. The PlayDoh for grown-ups has more sophisticated packaging, as you see, and it comes in appealing grown-up scents, they say, like overpriced latte and spa day, but also more original aromas like mom jeans, which they say smells like freshly washed denim. I don't know. You know, the original PlayDoh has a pretty distinctive smell to it. Not unpleasant, but it has its own distinctive smell that you associate with PlayDoh.
Yeah.
Do you really want it to smell like overpriced
No,
latte?
I want it to smell like Play-Doh.
There you go. I agree. Okay, the weather.
All right, looks pretty good over the next couple days. 73s tomorrow, Friday, 72 Saturday. Rain sneaks in late Sunday. Majority of the weekend looks pretty good.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.